Oh, that's hot. That's hot. He's so close to me. I'm just kidding. I let him hold my hand too. The dark side's looking kind of fun right now. I'm just saying. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are here with the season finale, hopefully we'll see, finale of The Acolyte. We're now on episode 8, which is called The Acolyte. So the last episode, we finally got to see everything that went down all those years ago on Rendok, the thing that kicked off this whole story. And unfortunately, we see that while none of it was necessarily planned or premeditated, it was intentional. And we understand now why May has such a grudge against the Jedi, and particularly the Jedi that were on her planet. And yeah, the pieces of the puzzle are finally there as far as why both of these girls have every reason not to trust the Jedi because of what they did. There really was a lot of unnecessary things that went down. However, I don't think that there was ill will by any of the Jedi per se. I don't think that Saul necessarily meant to be the bad guy, but that is the way it turns out considering he's kept lies for all this time. So we didn't really get a chance to see anything in the current time last episode. So in this one, I guess we'll have to see what Saul's side of the story is, what he wants to tell May. And conversely, we'll go back to see what's going on with Osha and see whether or not she's decided she's going to trust Khmer and allow him to train her, or if she's going to continue to try to get back to Saul. But I have a feeling that this is when the truth's going to come out for both girls. So I'm going to be very interested to see how they take this individually. So with that, let's jump into the episode. Just before I do though, a reminder that if you'd like to be in the know when I drop episodes on anything else you might be reacting to, this is the season finale of this show, but I'm reacting to a lot of other great stuff. So please do join the fam and hit the subscribe button as well as that notification bell. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now. Also, once again, the fan is on, so I'm sorry if there's a little bit of background noise. Khmer's like, right on time. I knew you'd fold.
No!
Excuse me, Satan? What have you done to her?
It's on May. She had her hand outstretched. She was killing Saul.
Where is she?
There is a version on this planet. Now that you and Osha are both alive, I can prove it.
Prove it.
So this is still about the damn virgins?
That murdering our mother was justified?
You did that.
What happened to you, to your coven, was an accident.
It wasn't, though. What you did was on purpose.
If it was an accident, then why didn't you tell Osha?
Exactly.
Why did you lie to her?
Quickly.
You started that fire.
That part's true.
It was right for us to intervene.
It wasn't. That's you trying to tell yourself that.
It's that I wasn't able to save you both. You and Osha are not twins. You're...
That could have given you a straight up heart attack, bro. Can she even fly? Guess we'll find out. Okay, so that talk didn't go well. Again, Soul trying to justify his actions rather than just admitting he was wrong. In another life, she would have been a good Jedi pilot. Good on, Basil. Yeah, he's like, I did not tell you the truth so you could kill her. Damn, what is it with these girls and crash landing on planets, huh? They really need to stay off this, like, out of space. Just pick a planet and stay there.
You let him in the control room?
Yes. That is why I said he's in there.
This must be urgent to wait for me here.
I've heard some disturbing things.
What have you heard?
Such as?
I am very close to apprehending the suspect.
Is the suspect a Jedi?
No.
Very close. Thank you for your concern.
Ooh, she said mind your business.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion, a delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
We don't control the Force.
Not the Force. Your emotions.
Ooh.
But it's only a matter of time before one of you snaps.
Period.
Not if that happens. Who will be strong enough to stop him?
I mean, that man spoke nothing but facts.
When you're looking up to heroes, you don't have to face what's right in front of you.
Is that all, Senator?
For now. Ooh, she's like, look at me. I can use the Force. Can you?
I hope for your sake you have this suspect in custody by then. Good
Pure.
luck.
He's like, I'm
What
not scared of your
does you
Force.
say?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
He says with disdain, with mockery in his voice. Don't be mad, sis. He spoke straight facts. This family again.
OSHA,
Don't call me by my first name. We
you
ain't
should
close
be
like
trained.
that.
Would you ever consider
No.
last chance?
Don't you flirt with me, sir. I mean, it's working, but no.
They made that deal without even thinking about it.
Yeah, she's always been the irrational one, though. Off they go. Who the Frankenstein is this now? A Sith? A real Sith? Ooh, come here, you nasty man. When's it gonna end, Saul? Come on, when's it gonna end?
Gather as many knights as you can without raising alarm.
You anticipate a confrontation?
Don't know what to anticipate, truthfully.
All the way back home.
She said, shut up. Fitting we go back to where it all started. So many people made bad choices that day. You have to go all the way back to where you made that fateful decision to let her drop.
Getting this elevator operational is the only way in, unless you want to climb.
Are you sure?
All right, so he's the devil. Here's the time to leave. Remember this place, Saul? Yeah, right back where it all started. That should be your guilt weighing down on you right now. Because none of this had to happen, bro. No, don't run. Stand in it. Remember this room where you set your sister on fire? Yeah. Seriously, both May and Sol are kind of in the same pool for me in here. I'll give May a bit of a pass, obviously, because she was a child, but all the same, that fire was intentional. In the sense of she didn't need to burn the book.
We make a great team.
Why are y'all beefing? Oh, because you want Osha for yourself. And he did beat you, by the way. But know, Kamir, that if you do kill Sol, you're losing Osha forever, but if you don't care. Stop bastardizing what's left of their home. Ooh, okay, beautiful. Very crouching tiger. Now that's swanky. Can yours do that, Sol? Woo! Okay, Sol, that's hot. That's hot. Shit. He learned a little something something from you there, Kamir. He paid attention. Do not underestimate Saul, please. Y'all think that people who are quiet don't know what they need to do. That's what y'all problem is. And I'm pissed at Saul at the moment, so just know this praise comes because it comes. It's deserved.
Everything that happened here. All because you didn't want me to become a Jedi.
It's true.
I didn't do this.
That part is true.
Sol never blamed you.
I did.
So I never became a Jedi.
Got what you wanted.
And I guess in the end, you got what you wanted. How could he teach you to control your negative emotions? He's the reason you have them.
No, you're part of that too, May. You definitely are part of that. Yeah, she reprograms. See what I mean? May takes everything from you, May. Okay, yes! Fighting angry does not... I brought backup! So unobservant. I do wonder how much training Osha actually did when she was at the academy. It feels like she's just forgotten everything. The helmet, not on the helmet. There goes your toy. Come on, hand to hand. You're good at it. Go on, OSHA. Stop him again. Oh.
Good, May.
OSHA's
Feel
vision
your
coming
anger.
true.
Strike them down. And your journey will be complete.
Why, because you can't come here? That much I gotta say. Soul whipped your ass twice now.
I want him to face the High Council, the Senate.
It's what
The
you should
Republic?
do. It's what you should do, Soul.
I did the right thing.
Not what? Killing her mom? What?
She created life. Your lives.
Yeah, someone needs to teach you about basic reproduction, yo.
Do you have any idea what kind of power that is? In the history of the galaxy, very few have been that powerful.
And you killed her.
You did. Admit it, you did, Soul. You did. You did.
Yes.
There you go. You're probably gonna die for it, but you did.
Is that true?
It is.
I was protecting you. It was the right thing to do.
No. Now you ruined
It
it.
was the right thing to do. Why didn't you tell the Jedi?
They would have sent you away.
That's true. But still doesn't justify it.
I did what I thought was best for you.
That is the first
Of course.
honest thing you've said in a long time, Soul.
Stop talking.
I kept this from you.
She
could
foresaw
have the
herself
life you
stabbing
always
Soul.
dreamed of.
I got it.
Because I love them.
She told you to stop talking. I'm afraid I don't feel bad for you, Soul. You really didn't. You shouldn't have done what you did.
It's okay.
All right. Loved you, Saul. I really did, but you f***ed up. Bad. You really messed up bad. Damn. Well, now we got two powerful Sith. Great. All right, now, twins. These Jedi are actually innocent. None of them had any idea what even happened on Brendok. They don't deserve to die. You go that way? I'm afraid I'm anti-you.
You.
You're alive. It was her! Full circle. Well, on second thought, you can kill her. R.I.P., bro. I know you weren't evil, but you messed up. Interesting, though. It's the first time I've seen Kamir genuinely scared. Ma'am, you messed him up bad.
When I felt I got sucked into this core tunnel.
Hmm.
You should not have brought him here. Get the twins.
Damn, she can see things 16 years ago? Dropping like flies. Sense too late, ma'am. Y'all just walking in a pack. You're supposed to set up a perimeter. That's not incognito at all. Much more effective for you guys to split up a bit.
Sorry, I didn't believe you.
She still burnt the...
You are with me. I am with you. Who taught us that rhyme?
Your mother. I guess they're gonna be that family of three little monsters we saw on the planet, huh? After all.
They'll have to...
Even after everything, you put your faith in the Jedi.
He wasn't... The Jedi are not all bad. Lambs to the slaughter. Bye.
I can attempt to wipe her memory. Remove any trace of you or me.
I can't lose you again.
It's for the best. She really was never the best part of you, ma'am. I was gonna say, it's kind of weird because technically they're not sisters, but in the same way when you think about it, that's really what identical twins are. They are the same DNA split twice. I mean, they're small variances, but for the most part, that's what it is. Wow, these Jedi must be like 10 miles away. They should be here by now. Just saying.
You're under arrest.
What did I do?
I forgot. Pip probably has a record of everything that just happened.
Leave us.
I feel like if anyone can get her memories back, it's this lady. if she wants to.
Fire. It destroyed my home. I'm seeing a man.
Wow, wiped you all the way back to your childhood.
He was my friend. He was a kind, brilliant, compassionate man.
But he was also rash and he was wrong.
And he did a terrible thing.
All right, that's some truth so far.
A rogue Jedi named Soul killed his accomplices to maintain the cover story.
Wow. Damn. But I knew she was corrupt as soon as I realized who she was to Kamir.
While this is a terrible tragedy, it was the work of one flawed man.
And a very corrupt leader of the
Where
Jedi.
is Master Soul?
Yeah,
now?
conveniently dead,
He was
huh?
found dead on Brandok.
Convenient.
I believe he ended his own life.
Well, I guess Kamir is necessary.
He justified every selfish step with the love he had for your sister.
What's crazy about this is that she's telling part truths.
You poor girl. You've been through so much.
Guess who's gonna become a Jedi now?
I need you to help me find someone.
Who?
A pupil of mine. Before he turned to evil.
Huh. Evil being a very selective term here. Or subjective, I should say, sorry. So close to me. I'm just kidding. I let him hold my hand too. The dark side's looking kind of fun right now. I'm just saying. What are the perks? What exactly are the boundaries of this arrangement? Just for saying. Oh, I thought we were done. All
Sorry
right.
to disturb you, Master.
Is this the creepy guy that was in the cave?
We need to talk.
Yoda! Is it Yoda? I refuse to believe Yoda's corrupt. Don't tell it to me. No, don't crush my dreams. Although this is a long time ago, I think. So I know that were others like Yoda, but I think Yoda's the only one who, like, he was 900 and something by the time Luke came around. So it could very well be him. Well, that is it for The Acolyte. And I think it was a good little series. I enjoyed it. I know that it's definitely had some interesting reviews online, but I don't think the negative ones were justified. I know this is definitely different than a lot of the lore we're used to in the Star Wars universe, but you know, the world has to evolve. The universe in itself, the storytelling needs to evolve. The Star Wars audience is greater and wider and broader than it's ever been. And you know, when you have that, you should be telling more stories, in my opinion. You should be trying to tell different stories. And you know, one of the biggest complaints I've seen out there is that it's not traditional Star Wars. You know, it's not those Star Wars that the people are used to or they grew up with, but the world is not the same. You know, when George Lucas wrote these series, this was like 50 years ago he wrote these series, people. The world's changed drastically since then. People have changed. And as I said, the audience is not so niche anymore. It's much more broad, and it encompasses so many different types of people and concepts that didn't exist when this series was originally crafted. So it's only natural that the story should evolve and grow as well. And I mean, I understand that for some people they don't like it, and you know, so be it. But I personally love that. I love that we have this different series with a different faces in front of it. You know, a lot of the Star Wars series have been very male centered, male focused. A lot of them have also been only one type of looking lead. And I like that in this one we have, not only do we have not have a male as a lead, we've got a non-binary person who's female presenting as the lead, but also a person of color. And that's another thing we don't see a ton of. And for those who've been in this fandom for a long time, like myself, you know that the fandom has been especially unkind to non-white leads of this series. Not all, of course. I know there's a lot of people in the fandom that just want a good character, period. But as I said, I've been in this fandom a long time, and I'm very aware of how people of color and Black people who have had roles, especially larger roles in this franchise, have gone through a lot of negativity by some parts of the fandom. So the fact that the show is headed up by not one, but 3 people who are not the standard here in the West. You know, we had an Asian person, we had a Black person, 2 Asians actually, Filipino and then Korean. And then we had Amandla, who is African-American. Also, actually, I think she refers to herself as biracial, but point being, we have people who are not traditional leads in this franchise. So that I think was huge. So for that reason, I'm really happy that they decided to do something different and give us a different type of series. And even last year we had, or is it earlier this year, we had the series with Rosario Dawson as well. So the point is, Star Wars is really trying to expand and, as I said, diversify the type of stories they're telling and the kinds of people they have being at the forefront of these stories. And I personally really enjoy that. I want to also give a huge shout out to Lee Jung-jae, who played Sol. He is such an amazing actor. I've watched a lot of his work in Korea. The one on this channel, I reacted to Squid Games, which he was the star of. And he's been in this industry a very long time, not in Hollywood, but in Korea. He's been acting since the 90s. He's a very talented actor, and just people, if you don't know, like, this man literally learned English. Like, his first language is Korean. He could speak a little before this, but not enough for a full English script. This is the first time he's ever done a full English script, and he was a lead. So it's not like he only had 5-6 lines. Like, he had to memorize pages of dialogue and learn how to speak in a way that, you know, would allow him to be well comprehended in this part of the world. It's not an easy thing to do. English is a very hard language to master when it's not your native tongue. Trust. It's a very hard language. So really, seriously, all the kudos and snaps, the amount of dedication that it took and the extra work that he would have done over the other people in this series who clearly didn't have to do that. I think it deserves recognition. And he did all of that and still also managed to give off this beautiful, poignant performance of this troubled man who was all the things that what's her name, Baldy, called him. You know, he was a compassionate man. He was loving. He clearly had a big heart. You see that everyone who knew him thought those things about him, but he wasn't perfect. He was flawed. There was a shadow there, and it ran deep. And so I just think that Lee Jung-jae did a great job of just really portraying that with Sol. You know, that tenderness and compassion was always present, but there was also that shadow there. There was always just a little bit something that was kind of hidden behind everything. And that's a very nuanced performance to pull off. And I think he did it beautifully. So I do hope he gets some level of award for this, because I think he deserved it. Really well done. And everyone else too. Manny Jacinto, I've seen him in a lot of things as well, but I think this is probably his biggest role as far as like a franchise so far. So good for him. And Amanda, she's been all over the place, but she's been loving it. She's a huge Star Wars fan, so this was a dream come true for her too. But coming back to the episode really briefly, really this episode was about kind of that reconciliation with these people who have seen the wrong side of the Jedi. And we see that finally Osha got the truth that she needed around Sol, because she really did have Sol on a pedestal, right? That was her father figure. That was the person who rescued her. That was the person who opened the door for her dream of becoming a Jedi, even though she wasn't able to walk the path in the end. And for her, it was hard for her to reconcile that there was any way that Sol could do anything that would be as bad as taking out her own mother, and especially the one that was going to give her a dream, right? The mother of, what was her name? Onasea was going to let her go. It was the other mother, if anything. She probably would have understood more, but the one that was actually the one that was the kinder, softer, sweeter, like the one that was more like Osha, to be perfectly honest, that's the one that Sol took out. Like, yeah, that was a hard one. That was one that, like I said, I couldn't excuse Sol for that. I really couldn't excuse him, and I couldn't blame May and Osha for being unforgivably angry at him for that. And I thought it was very interesting the way she had the vision of her using the lightsaber to hurt Sol, but really it was, you know, now that we understand that they're not actually twins, they're like a split of the same consciousness, she saw herself doing it, right? So anyways, clearly Osha is very powerful, and out of the two, I've said that since like probably episode 2, that I believe that Osha was always the more powerful of the two, but she always held back. And again, depending on how this consciousness split, maybe Osha got all the calm emotions but the power, and May got all the fiery emotions but less power, which is probably a good balance if you think about it. But maybe they are an even keel. I don't know. Maybe it's just a matter that, but it looks like I'm getting the sense that Osha is like the prime, if that makes sense. Like, even though these are twins and supposedly the same consciousness, I think that Osha's like the prime one, and that May was kind of the, I don't want to say leftover, that's a bad word, but she's like the remainder or the offset, if that makes sense. I think that's the way the division went. I don't think it was a 50-50 split, is my point. So anyway, and that would also explain why Kamir is far more drawn to Osha than he was to May. With May, again, May's just that raw, just very raw, very kinetic emotion, not a lot of thought, not a lot of forethought, not a lot of like that wider and broader thinking, whereas Osha is very much the holistic thinker and someone who doesn't jump to the darkest or the most violent answer immediately. And actually, even thinking back to the earlier episodes when it was just Camille trying to counsel May, you see that he was very much always trying to get May to like think more, to be more introspective, to kind of look at the bigger picture and not just be so focused on the immediate task in front of her. And I think that frustrated him because that short-sightedness of May was always going to be her downfall, right? Whereas with Osha, as I said, she's someone who's just a little bit more holistically thinking. She is someone who probably would have figured out, for example, how to get to Torben without having to go to Camille about it. But also Osha's the kind of person where her dedication, I think, we saw that, right? Like, I think really what really solidified Camille's desire to have Osha at all costs was seeing that absolute, unwavering, rock solid loyalty that she had to Saul. Because that is what Camille wants more than anything. He wants someone to be truly loyal and dedicated to him. And he was never going to get that with May, and I think he knew that. The fact that May was so quick to take the training on and so quick to just go on this revenge plot, I think he always knew. That's why he always followed May around. He knew that the second she ever had something that she thought was more important, she would leave him in the space of a second. He knew that loyalty between them was not real. It was transactional. Whereas with Osha, she's the kind of person where if she builds that bond with you, it is for life. Like, she's going to be there. She's going to be loyal. So yeah, in the end, that is kind of like how different those two are. But anyways, coming back, we see that when they went back to Brendock, her and her sister finally got a chance to talk. And, you know, that apology about the fire was a long time coming. Because like I said, as much as Saul was the reason why all of it kicked off, the fire that actually killed everybody was because of May. And they kind of just brushed that under the rug. I noticed they kind of were like, yeah, May started the fire and that kind of, but the Jedi came in and that's why the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's true. Like, I think Saul definitely does bear the brunt of the blame because he was a fully grown adult when this all happened, and this was very much, as I said last episode, a personal vendetta for him. Not vendetta, it's not the right word. It was a personal mission. And again, we still have no idea why it was so important to him to intervene with these two, but it was definitely a personal thing, and it was an emotional thing, and it was not a logical thing. And that's why this whole thing spun so wildly out of control. But the fire and really, unfortunately, the resulting death of all the Coven people outside of course, May's mom, what's her name? Asenia, that was on May. Quite frankly, she killed the Coven. That's the case. But anyways, at this point, it is water under the bridge. It's done. And again, she was a child. She of course did not mean for the fire to spread and to shut everything down. But yeah, that's why I said, like, it is still Sol who definitely bears the brunt. Sol and Indara and Torben. Like I said, the only innocent one out of that Jedi group was poor Kalnaka. He was just there, but he did keep the lie intact. So, you know, he was guilty by association in that way. But anyhow, I'm glad that Osha and May were able to make that peace, because still, like, they're each other's only living family. So it's understandable that they don't want to lose each other, and that their relationship's all the more heightened for that. And of course, they were raised the first half of their life to feel like they couldn't live without each other. Now, again, I still do think they're better apart, because May always had a very weird and obsessive codependence where her sister was concerned, one that I think Osha would have found smothering again at some point once they got past this reunion stage. But all the same, it's better that at least Osha's able to let go of that part, that anger and that hatred she was feeling towards May. She can finally let that go, as well as the guilt over her wanting to become a Jedi, because she'd been carrying that around as well, thinking that this wouldn't have happened if she hadn't wanted to become a Jedi. So knowing that it really wasn't on her, that it was Saul, that was the reason that this whole thing kicked off. And, you know, sadly that he did take out her mom. That was some peace that Osha really needed and deserved, to be perfectly frank. And then outside of that, we saw, the come to Jesus moment with her and Sol. That was super sad. I mean, I think that one thing I want to mention is that May definitely looked like she felt some level of satisfaction at hearing Sol admit the truth. Again, I know that some of that was because she knew Osha could hear it, but I think she also just wanted to hear that for herself, because you saw so many times Sol kept saying, I did the right thing, I did the right thing. And I know that was his own justification, what he's been telling himself for the last 16 years, is that he did the right thing, even though he knows he didn't. But really in that moment, the only thing he should have been saying is that I was sorry. Right? I'm sorry. I did it. It was the wrong thing. I did it. I acted rashly. I mean, later, if you get to a later, that would be the point where you'd be like, listen, I really thought I was doing what was best for you. And I believe that. I do think that Saul genuinely thought he was protecting the girls, but he messed up. He knows he was wrong. And if he didn't think he was really wrong, he would have gone to the council and told them what he did, but he didn't. So anyways, so that come to Jesus moment was a bit sad because obviously I think Saul genuinely loves Osha like a daughter. I do think his love for her was real and pure. Even though I said I still question where it came from and why it was so obsessive with her in particular. But I do think the virgins thing around, like, I was really surprised that he brought up the virgins the way he did when the girls were there. Like, this is how you're created and this is why it's important. Like, he brought that up almost like that superseded May and Osha and the fact that, you know, he had this relationship with Osha. And so I just say that to say that maybe that was part of why he was so obsessed. But no, he would have known when he first saw them that they were created by the virgins. So anyway, it was just weird that he brought it up. But I think the whole virgins thing on that planet is definitely not a closed case. Like, if we do get a season 2, I think we're going to revisit that somehow, because Soul made it seem like it was a pretty big deal. But anyways, so that come to Jesus moment was kind of crazy. But like I said, everyone needed to have it. And yeah, you know, as they say, sometimes you need to see the truth about your heroes. And I feel for Osha because she definitely feels bad. And, you know, I think some people might feel some type of way about her being the one to take Saul out in the end. But I kind of knew it would be that way. As soon as I saw her pick up the lightsaber, I was like, it was you that you foresaw. But I'm not mad at it though, because Osha was the one that was deceived by somebody that she loved it like a father. So that betrayal for her was deep, especially when you combine that with the guilt she's been carrying for 16 years, right? That was very much a visceral knee-jerk reaction. Do I think she'll regret it at some point? Maybe. But probably not, because Saul did in fact kill her mom. Like, there's just no getting around that. And that's something that a lot of people would feel is justice, because he didn't have to do it. She wasn't even attacking him. So it was very much an unjustified kill. So I do feel like though that in the end he said to her, it's okay. Because I do think at that moment he's like, yeah, you get a lot of clarity when you're about to lose your life in a lot of things. And I think in that moment, finally Saul could, you know, he really sensed like, no, actually. And he knew, I mean, he did know deep down, he knew that that was the wrong thing to do, that kill was the worst thing he had done. So at least he gave Osha that moment of, you know what, I forgive you, basically, or, you know, it's okay for her to finish it. So that's that. May can never, or sorry, Osha can never go back. And I don't think she wants to. I don't think she believes all Jedi are evil, for the record. I do think she recognizes that Saul and those 4 acted independently. She was around enough Jedi to know that they're not all like that. However, I think now she believes in Kamir's cause, because as I said, what this proved now for her is that there needs to be a check and balance for the Jedi. And I mean, people say Sith, you know, that term's thrown around a lot. The Jedi use anybody that practices or uses the Force and doesn't use it in a way that they deem appropriate. They're dark side, they're evil, they're, you know, Sith. But is that actually true? Or is it that there might be people like these space witches that were just using the Force the way that they used it, right? And I talked about this a lot in my previous reviews around the views that Jedi have around Force use. But in the end, I think what Osha is doing now, and it's kind of what we saw May allude to, was that, you know, you're going to be a form of a Jedi. You're going to be able to go out there, explore the galaxy, protect what you care about. You know, the tenets of the Jedi, you're still going to live those things. You're just not going to be part of the actual order, because there is corruption in there clearly. And I think that's why Osha wants to train. It's not because she necessarily believes in Kamir's cause, which is still vengeance-based if you think about it, but more that to be able to fight and advocate for others who are like her mom and her coven were, for more people who are like herself, who they're Force users and they're powerful, but they're not going to be able to follow the path that the Jedi set out for the use of the Force. So I do think she's going to become like kind of a, what would you even call it? Like a space regulator? I think that's what she wants to become, and she'll use Kamir for now to build that particular skill set. But I can definitely foresee her leaving Kamir at some point if he stays on this vengeance against the Jedi plot, because I don't think she has any intention of going to like the Jedi and trying to wipe them out. But we saw in the end of the episode here that old Baldy is the source of all of this, because she's the one who somehow stabbed Kamir in the back. I am very anxious to know how that story went and how that, like, why they got to that point. But we see, like I said, the only time we've seen Kamir look genuinely scared this series was when he sensed that she sensed him. So there's some deep beef there, very deep beef. And that's why he has that helmet. He's scared of her finding him. So I would like to know the truth behind that. I'm definitely looking forward to another season of learning about that if we get a chance. And yeah, we can see that she's lying. She put the whole thing on Soul swept all this under the rug in order to protect the Jedi. So this new guy there, the dude who said he's running for Senate and he wants to start checking the Jedi, basically putting controls on them. We're seeing that there's a good reason for that. The Jedi very much are running unchecked, and people like her and like Indara and all of them, they need to be checked. There needs to be something there to audit these people, because clearly the Jedi are not, sadly, pure enough to govern themselves in that way. So yeah, very interesting political things that they dropped in there at the end. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yoda possibly being there, and there's still the person in the cave. We have no idea who was on the planet that Kamir and Osha are on, who was in the big cloak and looked like they had kind of a distorted face. I'm not sure. That could be a Sith person. That could be a completely different third party. I have questions. I don't know. They only gave us a sliver of their face for a second. There's probably someone out there who has an idea who they might be, but I'm not sure. But yeah, overall, I think this was a good series. As I said, I enjoyed it a lot. I think everyone did a good job. I think the writing was great. It was very visually pleasing. Thank you, Manny Jacinto. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I personally think it was great. Don't listen to the reviews, or maybe you feel differently, but I really enjoyed this and I enjoyed reacting to the series. So I hope you guys enjoyed reacting with me. And if you watch anything else of mine, you will definitely see me there very soon. And if this is all that you watch from me, hopefully you can find something else in my catalog to join me on a journey with. I would love to continue reacting and doing all these good things with you. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next one.